Femke Bol shattered records, becoming the first woman to break 51 seconds in the 400 meters hurdles, making Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone's dominance seem beatable. But at the 2024 Olympics, everything went wrong. Bol faltered while McLaughlin smashed the world record again. How did she bounce back from that crushing defeat?
The Dutch and American rivalry in the 400-meter hurdles has been brewing for a while now. Whenever Femke Bol inches closer, Sydney does something to cement her status.
For a long time, Femke Bol didn't say much about that moment. The one where the world should have been talking about her unbelievable speed, but instead turned her voice into a viral joke. It was after her record-breaking 400 meters indoor run. She'd just done something historic. 49.17 seconds, faster than any woman had ever run that event indoors. And yet, the internet wasn't obsessed with her power or poise. They were giggling at how she sounded in a breathless post-race moment. A comment comparing her to Mickey Mouse picked up steam. What started as a silly one-liner turned into memes, impressions, and an avalanche of mockery. Millions of views poured in. People weren't celebrating her strength. They were mimicking her voice. For a world-class athlete who just made history, it was a strange, even painful twist. In a recent chat with Robert Rodenberg, Bol finally opened up about what that experience was like. She didn't lash out or play the victim. She just spoke her truth, calm, honest, and with the same grace she brings to the track. "I didn't know what was happening at first," she said. "Then I saw the memes. It was confusing, frustrating." You could feel the weight in her words. This wasn't just about a joke. It was about a moment that should have made her feel proud, being turned into something that made her feel small. But here's where Bol flips the script. She didn't let it break her. She turned it into something that pushed her harder. What the world mocked, she used as motivation.
This 400-meter hurdlers in history look like club runners. Sydney's time was so fast it could have won the British 400-meter.
Femke Bol is not just training. She's locked in like never before. After everything that's happened, it's clear she's not just chasing medals anymore. She's chasing redemption. And the person standing in her way? The unstoppable force that is Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone. For the past few years, Sydney has looked almost untouchable in the 400 meters hurdles. Every time she stepped onto the track, she didn't just win, she demolished records. But then came Femke, who refused to be intimidated. In the mixed 4x400 meter final at the Paris 2024 Olympic Games, her dominance on the track, particularly in individual events, will be sorely missed. Last season, Bol did what no woman had ever done. She broke the 51-second barrier in the 400 meters hurdles. It was a moment that made the world stop and pay attention. She didn't just run fast, she made a statement. Suddenly, Sydney wasn't running unopposed anymore. Bol had become a real threat. But when it mattered most, at the 2024 Olympics in Paris, everything came undone in the final. Bol came out strong, maybe too strong. Her trademark aggressive start, which had often given her an edge, became her undoing. Sydney, cool and calculated as ever, stayed in her rhythm and stormed past her in the final stretch. Not only that, but Anna Cockrell from the US also closed in hard and took silver. Femke finished with a bronze. For most athletes, bronze at the Olympics is still something to be proud of. But for someone like Bol, who knows she's capable of gold, it stung. She had broken records, rewritten history, and pushed her limits. But standing on that podium, she knew that wasn't the ending she had trained for. This isn't just two athletes racing each other. It's the rivalry that's turning the 400 meters hurdles into one of the most exciting events in all of sports. Femke Bol and Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone are rewriting the rules, not just for their event, but for what greatness looks like in women's athletics. And as the 2025 season heats up, all eyes are locked on what's shaping up to be their most explosive clash yet. Sydney has been a force for years. Every time people think she's hit her ceiling, she raises the bar, literally. She's the queen of clean execution, smooth, precise, powerful. Her world records in the 400 meters hurdles look effortless, like she's floating over each barrier. For the longest time, she seemed untouchable. Everyone else, just running for second place. But then came Femke Bol, and suddenly, Sydney wasn't running alone anymore. Bol brought fire, guts, and a whole different kind of energy to the race. She didn't just run fast, she ran with heart. And while she hasn't beaten McLaughlin-Levrone at the biggest stage yet, she's gotten closer than anyone else. At the Paris Olympics, Bol went out hard, maybe too hard, and couldn't hold off Sydney's late charge. It cost her. She ended up with bronze. But even in defeat, you could feel the tension rising. This wasn't over. In an interview with Robert Rodenberg, Bol said something that stuck with people. "I respect Sydney a lot," she said, "but I believe the best race of my life is still ahead of me, and I want to run it against her. You can tell. It's not bitterness, it's belief. This rivalry isn't built on trash talk or drama. It's built on mutual excellence, but the stakes are sky high. If Bol can finally dethrone McLaughlin-Levrone, it would be a historic moment, a shift in power that could redefine the future of the sport. And after everything Bol has been through, getting mocked online, missing gold, carrying the weight of expectations, she's stepping back on that track not just to compete, but to make a statement. This isn't about revenge, it's about legacy. Just when people thought Bol's Olympic story would end with heartbreak, she stepped back on the track for the mixed 4x400 meters relay, and what happened next felt like something out of a movie. Her team wasn't in a good spot. By the time Bol received the baton, the Dutch squad was in fourth place. You could almost hear the commentators shifting focus to the frontrunners. Most people wouldn't have expected a comeback, but Bol isn't most people. The rivalry between the American and Dutch sprinters is being closely watched by the entire world. She took the baton and tore down the track like she had something to prove. And honestly, she did. After the frustration of the hurdles final, this was her shot at redemption. You could see it in her stride, fierce, focused, fearless. One by one, she chased down her competitors. That anchor leg was pure fire. There was no hesitation, no looking back. In less than a minute, she flipped the script. Bol surged past the Americans, the Brits, everyone, and crossed the finish line first. Gold. After all that pain and pressure, she came out on top. And this time, nobody was talking about her voice. Nobody was mocking her emotions. They were watching in awe. It wasn't just a win, it was a moment of redemption, the kind that reminds you why we love sports. Because sometimes, even after a crushing loss, a champion finds one last gear and turns heartbreak into glory. That final leg wasn't just a race, it was a message. Femke Bol isn't going anywhere. If anything, she's just getting started. The disappointment from the 400 meters hurdles final was still fresh. You could see it in Femke Bol's face, the weight of everything she had worked for slipping just out of reach. She had gone out fast, chasing greatness, but ended up getting caught and passed by not one, but two Americans, Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone and Anna Cockrell. From potentially gold, she landed at bronze. For most athletes, that would have been the emotional breaking point. Who could blame her for being crushed? She was supposed to be the one to finally take down McLaughlin. She had the momentum, the form, the season, and suddenly, all of that ended in heartbreak. But the story didn't end there, not even close. Just days later, Bol was back on the track. This time, it wasn't an individual event. It was the mixed 4x400 meters relay, an event that doesn't usually get the spotlight. But what happened that day would become one of the most unforgettable moments in Dutch track and field history. Bol received the baton for the anchor leg in fourth place. The leaders were already ahead, and the gap looked too wide. No one expected magic. They just hoped she'd finish strong and carry the team over the line with pride. What happened next didn't just defy expectations. It rewrote them. Bol took off like she had nothing to lose. You could see the determination in every stride. She hunted down the runners ahead of her one by one, closing the gap, refusing to back off, pushing herself beyond the pain. It was the kind of performance that gives you chills. With each meter, the crowd grew louder. By the time she hit the home straight, she wasn't just catching up, she was winning. She crossed the line first, giving the Netherlands the gold. So, what are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comments below.